लेने पर पाए सुनहरा मौका कपल्स के लिए फॉरेन ट्रिप जीतने का और साथ ही जीते कई आकर्षक इनाम। यही नहीं, हर ट्रांजैक्शन पर होगा 24 कैरेट गोल्ड आपके नाम। अपने फ्रेंड्स और फैमिली को रेफर करने पर भी मिलेगा खरा सोना। गोल्ड लोन लेने के लिए आज ही मुथूट फाइनेंस की ब्रांच में आए या फिर घर बैठे बैठे गोल्ड लोन पाए। आज ही कॉल करें 1800-313-1212।
Welcome. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. I'm Shrishti Sharma and with me is Cheryl D'Souza. And Cheryl, is the first day of the week and feels like markets are also having their Monday blues, isn't it?
Absolutely, but if you look at the recovery that our markets have staged from the opening lows, nothing to complain about actually. Steady recovery, a good solid recovery coming in for the markets from the day's lowest point. As you can see now, Nifty has actually moved into the positive territory, and it's the spotlight should ideally be on what the tech stocks are doing, because they also opened with really deep gashes, but from there on it's actually managed to recover. Take a look at what HCL Tech is doing right now. Tech Mahindra, Wipro, for the matter of fact, all of them have seen some steady recovery from the day's lowest point, no doubt. Right now, they've actually slipped into the negative territory once again. Take a look at Yes Bank. Remember that we saw a good uptick coming in on that particular counter on Friday, and today as well. It is actually now well above that 21 rupee per share mark. Remember, the last time it had crossed the 20 rupee per share mark was back in 2020 December, and from there on, right now you can see the stock is trading higher by 6.8% as we speak. Let's take a look at what are the other movers in trade today. And if you look at Coal India, Divi's Laboratories, they are the top gainers on the Nifty, followed by IndusInd Bank as well as HDFC Bank and Nestle. But on the flip side, you have Nestle, Asian Paints, I beg your pardon, that is under pressure in trade today. Is down about 1.8% as we speak. Infosys is also among the top Nifty losers. Sun Pharma, HDFC Life are our losers in trade today. What are the sectoral indices doing? And IT index, yes, under pressure. Very evidently, you have pharma sector also that is seeing a tad bit of weakness in trade. But your metal sector that is seeing a good strength of about 0.4% as we speak. Auto sector holding on to gains, so is oil and gas sector. But talking about oil and gas sector, let's not lose sight of what is happening with the aviation space, and that is indeed the topic for our Buy Now, Sell Now lens today, Shrishti.
Well, yes, absolutely. And Sharon, look at the move in all of these counters, and especially Indigo, that is seen to be up higher by around 2.5%. But the big trigger for the aviation industry is that the domestic air traffic has touched 4.1 lakh number. That's over the weekend that we got this data, and that's a new high since COVID-19. With the festive season rush in full swing and the dealers coming in the airports, let's take a look at the busy travel theme. And Sharad is joining us to tell us what's all is happening in the aviation space. Sharad, take it away.
Well, yes, if we see the current daily passenger traffic has gone up almost 4.14 lakh is the number on a daily basis, and this has been the highest level seen since COVID-19. Apart from this, the second important data coming in is that 90% or more the passenger load factor is coming in for all the aviation companies, and this is coming in for, of course, Air India is leading the pack, coming in at almost 96.4%, followed by Indigo and SpiceJet. Now, if you see the expansion coming in the airport infra that we pointed out earlier, the operational airports are expected to more than double by 2040. And if you see the lounge services, where there's a listed company called Dreamfolk Services, over here their lounges are expected to go up by more than 3 times over the next 20 years. Now, the expansion is also giving a key triggers going ahead, especially for the aviation stocks, and of course there is an increased traffic coming in. The crude prices have come down and higher ticket price has been there, which have been the key triggers for the aviation stocks. Now let's look at GMR Airports. The important key triggers for them, of course, includes the divesting stake in Cebu Airport for almost 1,330 crore rupees, while also they're entering the high growth aviation market in Indonesia. Lastly, I would like to point out the important triggers for Dreamfolk Services, where the footfall in airport lounges are expected to increase 15 times till FY30, and it will be also a key beneficiary for the bank-led card loyalty programs which are targeting the airline lounge access.
All right, thank you so much for that, Sharad, for putting into context what's working for the entire aviation space, and that includes the airline companies, also the airports, as well as you had the newly listed company, Dreamfolks, which is into a very niche category when it comes to the entire aviation space. So let's bring on board our guests for today. We have Kunal Bothra as well as Ashish Maheshwari. We'll have Ashish joining us shortly. But Kunal, coming first to you, we've had Sharad actually put everything into context for us, talking about, because when you talk about aviation, you tend to only talk about the carriers. You tend to talk about Indigo, SpiceJet. You have now Air India, which is expanding quite massively. You also have the airport stocks that are in focus. And Dreamfolks, that's the recently listed counter. It is into the lounge areas. It operates in that particular area. Where do you see aviation space in entirety going from here on? And do you think it's an advisable bet to take? Because seasonality also is a factor, right?
Good morning. So I think it's a very interesting topic, very interesting space, and especially I think New Year, or the year end coming by. I think that's one of the major reasons why I believe that I think the aviation space could probably remain into the limelight. Now, the chart pattern specifically for the likes of Interglobe Aviation is very attractive on the short to medium term. So I remember, I think 2020. Second half, when there was a lot of question mark regarding the aviation stocks, Interglobe Aviation managed to remain quite strong. I think the stock was one of the better outperformers even in that second half of the 2020 sharp correction. And even the last 1 year, the stock has not gone through a major correction. You look at the major highs for Interglobe Aviation, I think 2,300 approximately was the major high. The stock corrected towards 1600, 1650 mark. But then it's not been a very sharp correction. It's been more of a time correction for a stock like Interglobe Aviation. So I think the chart patterns are looking very attractive. The stock is heading towards a breakout back again. The recovery in the last 6 months, in the last 2 months, very positive for Interglobe Aviation. So I believe that the space should do pretty well, and specifically Interglobe Aviation.
Okay, so Interglobe Aviation is something that Kunal is liking at this point in time, but Ashish Maheshwari is also joining into the show. Very good morning, Ashish. We have been discussing about this whole aviation, what's happening in the sector, and now that we have the numbers that are at record high when it comes to the domestic air traffic. What is your sense, and do one should be looking at to bet on this theme on a longer term perspective? Because Kunal is liking Interglobe Aviation, and even we are seeing a good stock reaction. But other than that, will SpiceJet be a good bet to go on? Because a lot of investors do try to look out for these counters which are very much beaten down. What's your take on that?
No, at present also I'll not advise to go for SpiceJet because of the financial crunch this airline is facing, and the way now Indigo is grabbing the market share along with Air India. The major losers are going to be Go Air and SpiceJet only. So I'll also like to remain with Interglobe Aviation. Again, the reason is they are the market leader, almost with 55% market share, very high passenger load factor, what they enjoy looking at the fleet size compared to other players. And as now ATF prices have cooled down, but at the same time, ticket prices have not cooled down. Ticket prices are still at almost at all-time high, whatever the sector you quote, domestic or international. So my view is that Interglobe will continue to do well. They are having cash of almost 8,000 crore plus in their balance sheet also. So whatever operational losses are there, they are in much better shape to absorb compared to peers. So my suggestion will be to look for Interglobe Aviation. Even at this price point, again, the stock is still at 10% distance from 52-week high. So surely stock can catch up to that level. At 2000 level, it's a screaming buy in my view.
Indigo Aviation is screaming buy according to Ashish at 2000 odd levels, and actually it's a consensus call coming in from both of our experts. Both of them are liking actually Interglobe Aviation in that aviation space. But on that note, we'll slip into a break in this edition of Buy Now Sell Now. But viewers, stay tuned, because when we come back, we'll be back with your queries, so don't go anywhere.
by ArcelorMittal.
With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong. We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
No, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you're asking, Nikunj, and almost seems like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing. And you're absolutely right.
But if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees. Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge. With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong. We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
No, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you're asking, Nikunj, and almost seems like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing. And you're absolutely right.
But if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees. Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge. With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first.
पेश करते हैं गोल्ड लोन मेला। गोल्ड लोन लेने पर पाए सुनहरा मौका कपल्स के लिए फॉरेन ट्रिप जीतने का और साथ में जीते कई आकर्षक इनाम। यही नहीं, हर ट्रांजैक्शन पर होगा 24 कैरेट गोल्ड आपके नाम। अपने फ्रेंड्स और फैमिली को रेफर करने पर भी मिलेगा खरा सोना। गोल्ड लोन लेने के लिए आज ही मुथूट फाइनेंस की ब्रांच में आए या फिर घर बैठे बैठे गोल्ड लोन पाए। आज ही कॉल करें 1800-313-1212।
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now, and this is a show where we get you answers for all your stock-related queries. But before that, Let me bring on board Ashish to talk about what should investors do to protect their wealth, given the fact the markets are actually taking it extremely easy in the month of December. We spoke about the aviation counters, and yes, looks like everyone is taking that break indeed, Ashish. But what should investors do to keep their wealth protected?
Yeah, first of all, don't try to catch the falling X kind of sector. So if IT sector is not doing well, just don't try to do any bargain hunting in that particular sector. Go with PSU banks where you have clear visibility of their earnings, as well as short-term fundamentals are quite bullish for PSU banks as such. So this is number one, that you need to go with the performing sector in my view instead of non-performing sector. Second, you need to keep stop losses to trade in volatile market. So if you are a trader and or a particularly day trader, just keep your stop losses intact and don't try to become investor or you will see I'll sell tomorrow kind of thing, because markets are very volatile and in no time from trader you become investor. So better strategy is to maintain your stop losses and trade. And if you are an investor, then be very selective about your sector. So my sectoral picks are PSU banks and railways as well as defense. These 2-3 sectors will have a secular run in next 6 months at least.
Okay, so that's the advice coming in for all our viewers to protect your wealth. At this point in time, you need to be very sector specific, and Ashish just highlighted what all sectors that he's liking at this point in time. Well, let's move forward and let's kickstart your stock related queries. And first up, Ashish, coming your way is the query from Bhardwaj. He wants to get into Borosil Renewables for the next 5 to 10 years. Will that be a good bet for him? Because with this investment, he's trying to enter the alternative energy space, wherein he feels that especially solar can be a good space that will have good demand in the times ahead. Will Borosil Renewables be a good stock to enter?
See, stock is good. Only thing is this stock is widely underperformed market. If you see, the stock is now hovering at near its 52-week low as such. So because again the reason is in this particular sector also a lot of competition is again building up. We have seen the last quarterly numbers also, quarter over quarter there was fall in net profit. So my suggestion will be to wait for some more time. If you are having 10-year time frame, this is fine. But look at entry level of say 470, 475.
Okay, the next query that I have before I go on to that, Kunal, Lakshmi Narayanan has said that nice haircut, Kunal, indeed. Yeah, it's a good refreshing. I see you are set for the holiday season that is coming up. But let's talk about Sri Kutan's query then. And he said that, may I know the short-term view on VIP Industries? Is it possible to break all-time high? And also, he wants to know what's a good entry level for VIP Industries.
Thank you first of all for the acknowledgement. On VIP Industries, now I think it's it's one of the best charts on the mid-cap avenue, because the stock from the 2020 lows when it was 200 rupees approximately did exceptionally high, moved towards almost 750, 800 levels, and then in this phase of correction from the October 2021 highs, this stock did not correct that much, and it was one of the first ones from the mid-cap space to try and come back towards the previous major highs, or at least retrace majority of the losses the stock had seen. So which means that it's a formidable stock, looks quite attractive. Potentially, yes, the stock can make a new high or dash towards the all-time high levels very quickly. So I would suggest that if you are already holding the stock, you can continue to hold on. Potentially about that 800 mark as a psychological breakout, we can expect that the stock could probably rally up another 10 to 15% in a matter of maybe 6 to 9 months.
Okay, moving on, the next query coming in from Deepak, and he wanted to check on whether it's the good time to add on to Ashok Leyland, because he already has this counter in his portfolio. And Kunal, what's your take on that? Deepak has bought it at 105 odd levels, but seeing at the stock move, because after 2018, this year around, we have seen the stock touching a new high. What's your take and what's the advice going ahead?
So you can hold on to Ashok Leyland, but I'm not too much enthused into adding the stock. See, Ashok Leyland has not been one of my the favorite recommendation from the auto pack, because of the belief that the stock is a very low to moderate beta stock. It tends to move into very sideways kind of a zone. there are no major immediate or high beta moves for the stock price, and that generally puts off a short to medium term trader. So I think purely in that regards, I would not suggest to average out or look to buy additional quantity unless you have a time frame of medium to long term. You are ready to buy these 5-10% dips which happen to come by in a matter of 2 or 3 months. Only then it makes sense. So you can look to buy if your time frame is long term, but if it's a very short term kind of a time frame, I would suggest to avoid.
Okay, the next query is coming from Santi, and Santi wants to know about EKI Energy as a fresh entry. What Santi is saying that the stock has corrected quite sharp from its highs, recent highs of around 3,000 rupees. It is now around 1,500 odd rupees per share mark. But he wants to know what are the fundamental changes that has made sure that the stock price has seen such a sharp rise, Ashish, because in the year before 2022, what Santi has also noted that the stock was trading with some single digit amount, or I'm not quite sure of how the stock has been before 2022, but he's definitely watched this counter. So he wants to know what are the fundamental changes, and also Kunal was requesting if you have a technical view on EKI Energy. So Ashish, you can go first.
Yeah. First of all, let me also acknowledge good haircut of Kunal. Unfortunately, I don't have those such expenses on me.
Nice one, Ashish.
So, yeah.
I think this has struck away Kunal's Monday blues for sure, isn't it, Kunal?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So Kunal is becoming red and I'm turning blue. Coming back to our investor query of EKI Energy, yes, this is one of the biggest wealth creator of last year, but now again, stock has been corrected because the kind of money the stock people have made, people are booking gains also because they are into energy audits and all those such services, and this is high growth areas. So my session will be here to remain invested, and at 1700, 1800 levels, you can try to exit because the stock is now finding its bottom near 1400 rupees, and the stock is worth holding because they're the kind of future these companies are having, and there's no comparable peer set also for such companies. So my advice will be to remain invested for time being, and 17 to 1800 will be level to look for it.
All right, so stay invested in EKI Energy, and 1700 to 1800 rupees is the levels to look out for this one. Kunal, what's your view?
So don't track. I mean, first, Ashish, I think it's good that you're talking about colors over here, but I think if we extend the conversation a bit more, I'm sure that some of the producers would probably turn green.
But you mean they become Hulk, is it? Then get upset.
Exactly.
No, Abhishek is pretty kind enough.
I think on EKI, I don't track the charts that often, so I don't track it, so won't be able to offer any comment. But from the energy sector overall, I think there are many stocks which are looking very attractive. So, this green energy space overall looks very, very attractive. There are a lot of stocks from the mid-cap arena which have done pretty well, but unfortunately, I don't track EKI in terms of charts, so won't be able to recommend.
Okay, so our viewer got the fundamental take on EKI Energy, and another viewer, Dr. YV Lakshman, also had a similar query, so hope this answers the same. But moving on to another set of query that we have is coming from Narayan, and Kunal, he wants to know specifically from you, what's the take on Astra Microwave, because on a YTD basis, the stock is already up 34%. But moving on, any return expectations to have from this particular counter, and good time to enter as well?
So I think, yes, it's a good time to enter. 314 is where the stock is trading right now. Just, taking support at the 50 DMA, more or less over the last 2 or 3 months, the stock has been consolidating. So, the major part of the rally for Astra Micro actually happened in the middle part of 2022, from June lows towards August, September, where the stock rallied up from 200 to almost 360, and from there on, the stock has been consolidating. So I think it's a good chart. After 2-3 months of rally, the stock going into 2-3 months of consolidation, is still hanging around the 50-day moving average. So I think that's a good zone where you can look to buy. And if the stock breaks out back again above the 360 mark, potentially the targets on the upside could be as much as 420 to 440.
All right, the next one is coming from Saeed Imad, and he's talking about BHEL. Kunal, 82 rupees is where he's bought this counter, about 2,000 shares. But now he wants to know whether this stock will be able to hit the 100 rupees per share mark this week itself.
I'm not sure this week, but then I think it makes sense to stick on to these stocks for a slightly longer term time frame. So, the stock has done exceptionally well. So a stock like BHEL, which is not widely acknowledged and known in terms of, the investor positioning. But I think, the stock had gone to a surprise move from the 60-65 levels to almost 88-90, where the stock tested, last week or so. I think it's now going to a consolidation. So my belief is that the stock may consolidate a bit more, for the next couple of days at least. If you happen to, look to buy back or look to add on to the stock, then I think closer to 82 levels, which is your initial cost price, should be a level where you can look to add further.
Okay, but moving on, the next query is from Krish, and Ashish, he wants to know from you, what's the take on Tube Investments? Krish already has this counter from levels of 2600, but is this a good time to add more to these levels? The stock is already near its 52-week high.
Yes, this again company which has really given very good returns in this particular year. The stock has doubled because the kind of blue chip investment these companies is having in their group companies, and all their businesses are doing good also. The thing is, this the stock is not that very actively. There are a lot of volumes are not there, but nevertheless, fundamentally, the stock is pretty good, and I'll recommend you can continue to remain invested for even 3,500 mark by March.
So this is actually I also had Sagar asked a similar question on Tube Investments, because he was saying that he's bought at levels of 1,150 rupees per share. He's saying now the stock is about 3 times, and he has also noted the fact that you were not too bullish on this counter. So he wanted to know, has your view changed on this one? But clearly you seem to advise the previous investor that to stay invested in Tube Investments, isn't it?
Yes, again, the reason is the kind of profitability growth which has come in previous year to this year. See, if you remember, in 2021, they used to make 300 odd crores. Last year, they made 900 crores, and this year they are going to make 1,000 to 1,100 crores now. So looking at this kind of earnings, actually, there's no reason to remain bearish in this particular stock with very limited floating stock and the kind of numbers which are coming. So you need to change view looking at the numbers if you are following fundamental analysis. That's why it's in my buy list.
Okay, so those are the possible triggers for Tube Investments and the fundamental take on that. But with this, viewers, it's time to slip into a short break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back and taking up your more stock queries.
सब साथ बढ़े. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong.
We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
Now, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you're asking, Nikunj, and almost seems like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing. And you're absolutely right.
And if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees. Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge. With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong.
We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
No, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you asked, Nikunj, and almost seems like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing. And you're absolutely right.
But if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees. Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge. With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong.
Welcome back to Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now, the show where you get all your stock queries answered by the experts. Let's move on with the next query that we have, and that's coming from Chandrasekharan. And Ashish, he wants to know whether it's a good time to enter into Thomas Cook. We have discussed about the aviation theme, how the domestic travel theme is catching up, but Thomas Cook is up 10% today. What's your take on that?
Yes, this is a good time to enter into Thomas Cook in my view, and I agree with you. The aviation theme, the travel and tourism theme is really catching up, and we have seen this turnaround in the entire sector, and Thomas Cook will also do well in my view. So Thomas Cook, surely you can enter at this price point. My target for this stock by March is around 120.
All right, this one's coming from Manish Raju and Kunal. This one is for you. Any sector or two stocks to buy for the next 6 months?
Well, yes, there is. In fact, one of the stock which I do track very closely, that's IndusInd Bank. I think is heading towards a very strong breakout on the cash or on the stock on the spot front. The stock is trading at 12, 15, 16 levels. So I would recommend that as a buy. Immediate targets, traders could look out for at least a 5% upside, which should be closer to 12.75 approximately for IndusInd Bank. And the second would be a buy in LIC India. Now, I understand that the stock has been a huge underperformer, but for the first time, since listing, LIC India is breaking past of a swing resistance. Now, typically when a stock makes a pattern of lower highs and lower lows, we expect the downtrend to continue. But when a stock makes or breaks below the previous major highs, that's the time when we say that the possibility of a downtrend being over is very much high. And I think that's why I would suggest LIC India as well at 685, 86 levels on the spot basis. Would recommend this as a buy for targets of 725, stop loss at 660.
Okay, so IndusInd Bank and LIC is something that Kunal is liking at this point in time. Interesting to see that LIC is on the charts, because I feel a lot of investors must be happy listening to that, Kunal. But Ashish, with this, let me take up some of your stock queries from you, because Sudha is looking to invest 2 lakhs rupees today itself, and she wants to know which one will be a good counter to bet on. Will that be a Tube Investments making into the list one of those counters, or any other railway counter that you can suggest for Sudha?
I suggest you invest in 2 stocks, and both are coincidentally almost same price. First is Gujarat Pipavav Port Limited. This is again a port company which is owned by now MNC company APM Terminal, which is part of the Maersk Group. And here the floating stock is also just 10-12% because 45% is owned by APM and 45% is owned by all Uzu, FIs and DIs. So this is a stock to watch for now. And another stock which I have already mentioned is Thomas Cook, because of the boom in travel and tourism industry will continue to do well. So you can divide 1 lakh in both these stocks, and I'm expecting that around 30% kind of ROI you will get in 6 months.
Okay, the next one that I have is coming in from Satya, holding Polyplex at 1780 rupees per share. Technically, is it fine to hold on for the next 6 to 12 months, Kunal?
Yeah, I think it looks okay. The stock is still trading at its support point. 1700 is a support. We flagged off the support even last time around as well. This has been the support for Polyplex over the last 1 month. So till the time the stock is holding on to the support level, not showing any major kind of a breakdown, you can continue to hold on.
Okay, the next query coming in from Vinod, and Ashish, he wants to know the take on DCB Bank. Will that be a good bet for the next 2 to 3 years, because the stock is already up 70% in the past 6 months?
No, I think comfortably you can hold this bank because fundamentally like they are into right segment, which is into SME lending and retail, and this is the sector which most of the institutional investors are chasing also. So DCB Bank always a good buy, and for if you can hold for 2 to 3 years, expect at least 50% upside minimum.
All right, the next one that I have is coming in from Akash Mathur, and he wants to know about Kamdenu. Ashish, I'm unsure if you track this one. He already has a stock at a price of 318 rupees per share. He wants to know what's the long-term prospect of this one, and should he hold, add or exit this counter. Do you track this one by any chance?
Yes. So Kamdenu is typically, this is like there was a corporate development that all shares of Kamdenu Ispat are going to get 1 shares of Kamdenu Paint also. So this company is already doing pretty well as far as Kamdenu TMT bars, what they make. And this paint shares are also getting listed maybe in this month and or in January first week, mostly they will get listed. So my suggestion will be to remain invested in this group and you are going to get good returns.
Okay, the next query coming in from Venkat, and Ashish, Venkat is holding SBI cards and is facing a loss of 100 rupees per share currently. Is this a good time to book losses in this counter and switch to Kaynes Technology, which is one of the recently listed counters? What's your take on that?
No, I'll not advise, first of all, this switch to Kaynes Technology. In my view, can continue to remain in SBI card, because as far as stock price is concerned, as the stock price moved up too sharply.
Has 3,540 shares of JP Associates bought at levels of 14 rupees per share long time back. Now she wants to know if she can get her money back with the present uptick in the company, whether she should continue to hold or sell this counter.
I would recommend to exit the stock. So I think even if it's very close towards your cost price, you can't be expecting that the stock would probably come back towards your cost price, and then you can get out. The waiting time, the waiting period for these kind of names is pretty much high. The volatility attached towards these kind of stocks is extremely high. So I think it makes a lot of sense to exit these kind of names. Ideally, what you're looking out for is just maybe a 5-10% kind of a profit to try and come back into the positive territory, and that could be easily achieved when you're looking at large cap names. So I would suggest an exit on JP Associate.
Okay, the next query coming in from K. Parthasarthi, and Kunal, he wants to know the technical view on Indian Bank. He's holding this particular counter from levels of 108, but last week this counter was above 300 rupees, but now it is down like 40 rupees. So he wants to know, is this a good time to book profits in this?
Yeah, I think it's a good time to book profits at current levels of 270 approximately. But then if you're looking to buy, I would also suggest a rebuying level. So maybe closer to 240 odd mark, which could be another 10% approximately from current levels. Could be a level where you can look to rebuy the stock. I think the way the stock has rallied up, I don't sense more than a 20% correction to come by. So 10% correction has already happened. You can look to book out profits, and if another 10% correction happens, then I believe you should try to get back your original quantity or look to buy back again.
Okay, TP Vinod has written to us and actually has addressed this query to you, Kunal, but I will take it to Ashish because he has a longer term view, say about 2 to 3 years. So Ashish, he's already holding 160 shares of AMI Organics at the price of around 955 rupees per share. He's willing to hold for the next 2 to 3 years, but wants to know what sort of an outlook does this company has and what sort of target can he look for because he already purchased it at levels of 955.
Look, fundamentally, nothing wrong with the company. From 1175 odd levels, we have seen some correction. But again, I see these chemical stocks doing well. Even last 2 quarter numbers were also good for AMI Organics. Only thing is, there's no rally being built up in chemical space for quite some time. But whenever rally will build up, then you are going to see the AMI Organics, Balaji Amines and Lakshmi Organics will also start doing well. So my suggestion will be to hold this stock for some time.
Okay, so that's a hold coming in on AMI Organics. But moving on, Kunal, Ashok wants to know from you what's the take on LIC Housing Finance. You did touch upon LIC, but what's the take on LIC Housing Finance and what could be the possible targets in the month of December?
So I would not be very bullish on LIC Housing Finance. I think that stock is still getting into a downward trend from 440 levels. I think in September, October, the stock corrected towards 350, 360 levels. And now it's back again just above that 400 mark, which means it's come back towards the 50% retracement of the entire fall from 440 levels for the stock. Now, ideally in such kind of a scenario is where we expect the rally or the bounce to sort of end and the stock getting in, could probably get into a correction phase. So I think it makes a lot of sense to not buy the stock at current levels unless if the stock corrects, comes back towards say 360 mark, which is the previous major support. That could be a good point to try and buy, not at current levels.
Okay, this one is coming from Shanmuga Sundaram. Kunal, once more is coming to you. This one's for Divi's Laboratories, 30 shares at a price of 3,800 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he can average now for a 1-year holding period.
So, I would suggest to start buying in very small quantities over here because, the stock which I think almost a month back had a negative news flow, very sharp negative news flow or event attached towards it. It corrected from 3,800 back towards 30 to 40. Ideally, in such cases, what I have seen is that stock takes at least 2 to 3 months to try and bottom out. Now, it's already gone through 1 month of bottom formation over here. 3250 is a support, major support for DV Slab. The stock is marginally higher than those 30 to 40, 50 support levels. So you can start buying at current levels. But as I said, the only concern is the time-wise correction. If in case the correction extends for another 2 months, then you can possibly get the stock a bit more cheaper. So buy in small quantities and in stages is what I would recommend.
Okay, the next query coming in from Steffi and Ashish. Steffi is holding SAIL from levels of 95 rupees 60 paise, and we have seen all these steel counters correcting quite a bit, but some reports suggesting that the steel price correction has bottomed out. So going forward, any hopes on recovery on the stock price?
Yes, I agree. Now steel prices have already bottomed out, and we have seen slightly like these stocks have also started doing well because on the expectation that the first quarter was September quarter and this quarter onwards performance will improve. But SAIL is slightly a non-performer stock, like your chart is also showing last 3 months stock has not went anywhere. So my suggestion will be instead of SAIL, you can either buy Tata Steel or buy JSW Steel, which can give you faster returns and your loss can be also recovered comparatively faster instead of Steel Authority of India, which is a laggard actually.
All right. On that note, we'll actually slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. Viewers, don't worry. We will be back with your queries after this break and hang in there, experts.
बात सिर्फ मेरी नहीं.
We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
No, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you asked, Nikunj, and almost seems like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing. And you're absolutely right.
And if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees. Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge. With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong.
We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
No, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you asked, Nikunj, and almost seems like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing. And you're absolutely right.
And if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees. Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge.
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now, and let's continue with the query segment then. And the next query that I have is coming in from Jeevan. And Jeevan wants to know about Jubilant FoodWorks. 500 share he's holding for the levels of 570 rupees per share. Kunal, what's the view for the next 2 to 3 months?
See, it's surprising because the stock has underperformed actually. I had a lot of expectations for the stock when it had crossed about that 600 mark. I think in the month of August, September, the stock had crossed the 200-day moving average. There was a golden crossover which had happened. All of those parameters had ticked off quite positive for Jubilant Food. But then from those 600 levels, the stock could not hold on to that point, and it's now corrected almost 10% from those levels. So it's been a disappointing and underperforming stock. Now, ideally in such kind of a scenario, I always prefer that let the stock spend some time consolidating at this lower end and let it break past about that 600 mark back again. So I would suggest that you can continue to hold on, but averaging opportunity on dips should not be done over here. In fact, you should look to average further in case the stock corrects and in fact comes back towards that 600 mark. That could be a classical point for you to buy as well as hold on from a medium-term play.
Okay, Kunal, the next query, I'll take it up from you because it's an F&O query. And Puneet has bought Siemens December 3000 call at a price of 110. And we have been discussing about Siemens in the last week, what all are the triggers for this counter and why is the stock at an all-time high levels. What's your view on that?
So I think you can continue to hold on, this call option. I think it's at current market price only which you've bought. But the only question is that the stock would probably, get into a bit of consolidation. So Siemens is a stock which gets into a time-wise correction in between. 3000 is a major support point for Siemens. So on closing basis, if the stock sustains that 3000 mark, you can continue to hold on. But if it closes significantly below the 3000 levels, I would suggest to look to exit.
All right, the next one that I have is coming from Anil. His entire name is Anil Kumble, and one of our other viewers also asked him, is he the national spinner? Where he said, no, I am a local spinner with the same name. So Anil has a query on DCX Systems. 270 rupees is the buy price, 500 shares is what he's purchased at. And he wants an outlook for the next 2 quarters for this one, Ashish. And since it's a recently listed counter, so I'll come to you. What's your take on this one? Do you think that it is a niche player set to benefit fundamentally over the next 2 quarters?
Sorry, which stock?
DCX Systems.
I missed this.
Is a recently listed counter.
Yes. So company fundamentally is pretty good, and they are operating in defense and allied areas, which are also quite promising. Only thing is initial euphoria, whenever you see for any particular stock post-listing, those euphoria is over. So we have seen that the stocks perform for a few days. After that, there's some profit taking and correction, and this is what happening in this stock also. That's why in last 1 month lost so much. But fundamentally, nothing wrong with the company. In my view, you can continue to remain invested for a couple of quarters. Surely, you are going to get decent returns here.
Okay, moving on. The next query coming in from Akash, and Ashish, Akash is holding Kirloskar Ferrous. The stock is already hitting its all-time high levels, but Akash bought it at 326 rupees. What's the view on that going forward?
Kirloskar Ferrous or Kirloskar Oil?
Kirloskar Ferrous.
Okay. So I think stock has given already very good returns, and today also stock has moved quite a bit, and last few months also, in fact, other Kirloskar Group stocks has also given good return. So my suggestion will be to remain invested so far in this group, because so many corporate developments are happening here. So remain invested for some more time.
All right, this next one that I have is coming in from Matthew George, and Matthew George has a query on, okay, actually before that I think I missed another query. This one here, Matthew George itself. Coromandel International bought about 200 shares at a price of 972 rupees per share. He wants to know, is it good time to add some more or exit? And what sort of a target can you look at for the next 3 months, Kunal?
So I think you can continue to hold on. 940 could be a good level where you can look to average. That would be a sort of a midpoint of the candlestick the stock had seen last week, Wednesday or Thursday, when it had jumped up, I think 4%, 5% plus. So I think 940, 943 is a level where you should look to add.
Okay, moving on. The next query coming in from Madhusudan Rao, and Ashish, he's having RBL Bank from a price of 300 rupees, and that's the current market price is 150, but the good part is that from its 52-week low levels, the stock has almost doubled. But going forward, any hopes to touch 300 rupees, or is this a good time to average out? What will be your advice?
To average it out, I think the worst is over already in this stock, and it has, if you see from high of 204.5, the stock is now still around 25% away from 52 high, which other banks' performance is much better. But nevertheless, it is going to catch up, because under the new management, new board, things are changing quite a lot at RBL
Ashish,
Bank. So
I'm very sorry, I'll have to halt you there, because you have Finance Minister talking at Lok Sabha.
More data. Of course, data is available in my answer, and more is available in the public domain. Isliye honorable member should please. Sir, therefore, the kind of interference with honorable leader of the opposition, sir, I would appeal to you.
आप तो बोलिए आपका जवाब.
मेरा गला भी, it's my vocal cords are tearing by the level of his guttural powers, sir. I can't match up the vocal powers of the opposition.
आप पूरा जवाब दें.
जवाब दे दिया सर.
हो गया. एक बात सुनिए, एक मिनट प्लीज बैठिए. एक मिनट बैठिए, मैंने सर प्लीज एक मिनट बैठिए, सब बैठिए. बैठिए, आपको नहीं. माननीय सदस्यगण, मैं पुनः आपसे आग्रह करता हूं. ये प्रश्नकाल है, और माननीय सदस्य ने कहा कि मैं इस जाति से आता हूं, इस धर्म से आता हूं. ये सदन के अंदर आप वरिष्ठ सदस्य हैं.
All right, that was Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in Lok Sabha talking about the Indian economy, also talking about the rupee. And on the Indian economy, she did mention that India has been the fastest growing economy, and everybody should be proud of India's growth. But some people are taking it as a joke. I believe this is in response to what the opposition had to say. But with that, actually, we are totally out of time on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. Thank you so much, Kunal, as well as Ashish for joining us in the show and resolving all the viewer queries. And yes, viewers, we couldn't take your rapid fire, but we are back tomorrow. So do stay tuned tomorrow at 11 a.m. when you will find me and Shrishti here taking all your queries. For now, it's a goodbye from both of us.
Welcome to a new show of COI to Work. I've literally come in the middle of the scene to really understand if India is growing, what are the factors which are at play. We are with the chairman of Jane Port, Mr. Sanjay Sethi, to talk about how exactly things are shaping up in this dynamic global environment.
With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong.
We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
Now, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you're asking, Nikunj, and almost seems like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing. And you're absolutely right.
And if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees.
Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge.
With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong.
We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
Now, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you're asking, Nikunj, and almost seems like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing. And you're absolutely right.
And if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees.
Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge.
With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy.